Hi everyone, my name is JT McCann and today I will be explaining sonata form. Throughout this video I will use the composition Sonata in F major opus 12 number 3 by the great composer Clementi.
Yo, what up guys, I'm Clementi.
We will use his example to point out the reoccurring parts of sonata form. Before we jump into his piece, let's first go over the definition of sonata form. Simply put, it is a musical form with a three-part structure in which a musical subject matter is stated, explored, and restated. The first section of this form is called the exposition. Here the primary theme of the piece is stated in the home key. This later transitions and ends on the arrival of the MEDIAL CAESURA, which is the major cadence, often accompanied by a musical pause in the middle of the exposition. Directly after the MEDIAL CAESURA, the secondary theme is stated in the dominant key. So for example, if we were in the key of A major, the secondary theme would start in the key of E major. The next section is called the development. The development begins after the repeat of the exposition and expands upon the first theme, otherwise known as the primary theme of the piece. Often it can be very unstable and liquid when distinguishing the tonal center and melody. Lastly is the recapitulation, where the primary theme is usually stated verbatim, then moves to a closing statement to end the piece. Let's go ahead and look at the very beginning of the Clementi Sonata I talked about earlier. As stated in the title, we begin the first measure in F major, with the principal themes in measure 1 through 11. It sounds like this. Measure 12 serves as a transition to a repeat of the original theme in bars 13 through 26. Now let's jump ahead to the transition to the secondary theme starting in measure 27. As we can see, there is a change in pace of the music. The left hand for the first time has moved up to the treble clef, and a repeated sequence begins in bars 29 through 31. It sounds like this. This has created a smooth intersection to the secondary tonal area, which is C major. This is clearly expressed with B naturals and a pedal C in measures 32 through 25. The secondary theme is mainly in measures 37 through 47. This theme is completely different than the first theme, and it sounds like this. As we begin to look ahead, we can see that Clementi expands upon theme 2 up until measure 56. The music gets soft, as if something new is going to happen, and we see the first B flat since the exposition, along with the note C natural in the both left and right hand. As I stated earlier in the video, the development portion is the most harmonically open, and can be hard to understand, as we will see in the next few bars to come. The repeated C naturals in bars 56 through 57 give a smooth transition into what the listener might first think is a key change to F major. Although the first bar at 58 is exactly as the first measure of the primary theme in measure 1, the next bar begins to deviate in bar 59. Here we see the introduction of the notes E flat and F sharp in measures 59, 60, and 61, and it begins to sound minor. This is because if you condense all of the notes from these measures, it makes a G minor scale like so. I will play an example from the music so you can hear what I'm talking about. So that means bar 58 was not actually modulating to F major, but it was a F major harmony modulating into the key of G minor. This makes a lot of sense as we see a D7 harmony that resolves to G minor in measure 62. Measure 62 comes as a surprise with the inclusion of a recurring A flat. At first I was confused when analyzing this, but as I began to dig deeper it became very clear. When you take all the notes of that measure, B flat, D, F, and A flat, it makes a B flat 7 chord, which is the 5 chord in the key of E flat major, which is also the 6th scale degree in G minor. So that means that measure 62 serves as a 5 of 6 in the key of G minor, in order to transition us to the new key of E flat major. So by bar 63, Clementi has managed to smoothly restate the original theme, but in the key of E flat major. As we move along in the development, you will slowly see the primary theme change and morph into new ideas. By bar 75, the melody becomes almost indistinguishable. After a short transition at the end of the development, we are abruptly back to the primary theme in the original key of F major in bar 96. Before we reach the end, Clementi returns the secondary theme in bar 117, which takes us to the closing section of the piece. The closing section starts in measure 133 due to the increase of faster rhythms and ends in bar 141 with a perfect authentic cadence in F major. To conclude this analysis, let's take a moment to look at all the timeline put together and answer some questions to see if it truly is a sonata. First, did it have all 3 definitive sections in it, including an exposition, development, and recapitulation? Did the exposition have 2 separate themes with 2 separate tonal areas, specifically the dominant key and the second? Was there a medial caesura between the primary and secondary theme? Did the development take the primary theme and change it in any way? Was the development unstable? Did the recapitulation restate the primary and secondary theme verbatim in the original key? All of these answers have helped me prove that this composition is in fact a sonata. There only seemed to be one exception though. If you haven't already noticed, there was no medial caesura, or break in the music, to transition the primary and secondary theme in the exposition. This is because not all music is exactly the same, and composers like to vary things from piece to piece. I hope you enjoyed my analysis of Sonata in F major and learned something new about the form of music.